Morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us as we join together to talk about Blythe Academy Etobicoke and what the student and parent experience is like at our school. Today's information session is going to be for prospective families from grades 9 through 12, so our full range, for September 2022 admission. Joining me here today are a few of our team members, a parent, and a student. So we have Todd Colbert. Todd, if you just want to take a moment to introduce yourself.
Hi, Todd Colbert, teacher, social science and English. I've been with Blythe Etobicoke since its founding, so that's about 4 years now. English, social sciences, and photography. So that's my reign of specialty.
Thanks, Todd. And next I'll go to Amanda Palumbo.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Palumbo. I've also been with Blythe Etobicoke since its founding. My background is in languages, French and Spanish. We're starting a Spanish program here, which I'm very excited about this coming spring. And humanities courses, as well as the student life and the sustainable development initiatives at the campus.
Thank you. Next, I'm going to go to Avery.
Hi, I'm Avery, and I am in grade 12, and I joined the Blythe Academy Etobicoke family in the 2019-2020 school year. So I've been here for about 3 years now.
Thanks, Avery. Next, I will go to James Thompson.
Hi, I'm the parent of a graduated son who was at Blythe from grades 10 through 12 and is now at U of T.
Thanks very much, James. And last but not least, Mrs. Pace.
Hi, my name is Tina Pace, and I'm the guidance counselor. I have been with Blythe Academy Etobicoke since we opened 4 years ago.
Thank you very much. So a little bit of an overview of what we are going to be talking about here today. We're going to go through a little bit of everything for you. So hopefully this will answer many of the questions that you have. Our philosophy, a bit on our academics, our team beyond the people you see on this screen, guidance and student support, our full gamut from grades 9 to 10, focus, and then 11 to 12, which moves on to more of a university preparation. We'll look at a little bit of the nitty-gritties, daily schedule, extracurriculars, who we are, who our students are, events that we take place in the school and around our city, as well as our post-secondary planning processes, where some of our kids have gone. And then we'll go on to the admissions process and sort of what we're looking for when we're trying to determine a fit for a prospective student. So our school philosophy has really been ours to define in our first 4 years, and we've worked alongside our students and our team to come up with what we believe are the defining characteristics of our school in terms of our educational philosophy. So first and foremost, we believe in creating relationships with our students. We believe that it's really important to get to know kids before we can teach them. They need to know and believe in the fact that we are there to support them and that we are cheering for them. And the best way for them to understand that and feel that is for them to connect with us. If you spend any time in our school or in our community, you will see us out and about. There is a lot of experiential and outdoor education integration into our programs. We're hands-on and active, whether it's in the school building or outside of the school building, but often outside, particularly with respect to our Eco Schools initiatives, which Ms. Palumbo will speak to a little bit later. We have lots of really rich learning opportunities in that respect outside our building in High Park along the banks of the Humber River, so lots quite nearby us. We also really focus on including relevant and topical social justice topics in our in our courses, particularly in our social sciences and humanities, but really wherever we can help students to make connection to those. And ultimately going back to that relationship-based approach to education is we try and personalize things so that students can find some personal connection to the curriculum that makes them more likely to be engaged in the material, participate in class, and therefore do better in their studies and get better results. Our academics are done on a quadmester basis. So we work on 4 terms, and we always have. It's not something that we turned to during the pandemic. It's something that we believe is the best approach for our students. So our students are doing 2 courses per term with an average class size of 10 and a maximum of 16. Although if you visit our building, you'll see that most of those classrooms do not hold 16 students. So our average class size of 10 generally stands. We have a variety of partnership courses that we're eager to begin again in term 4, now that we seem to be able to do more field trips and activities in the world. And we have a nice mix of compulsory and elective courses for our students. So with the smaller classes, we are still able to offer a large range of course options for our kids. Our teachers are really trained in how to deliver in the quadmester system because the classes are longer. They're about 2 hours in length, and so they have to be dynamic. It can't be a teacher standing at the front of the classroom and just speaking for 2 hours. There has to be integration of student activity and discussion within that in order to keep kids engaged and interested. So our team, most of our team has been here, as you heard from the folks here, since year 1. And we're always adding, usually every year, making a change or 2 every year. But the core of the team has been here since we began. If I'm thinking about the team as a whole, I would say they're passionate about what they teach. They're all teaching subjects that they're really interested and trained in. They get, as I said, a lot of particular training for how to deliver in the quadmester system, which as a lot of schools found out over the last year as they turned to that system, is not an easy way to teach, but definitely provides a depth of knowledge and understanding for students when they're able to immerse themselves into topics like that. They truly care for their students and work to make those personal connections with them, understanding their learning styles, the circumstances in which they're coming to us, and wrecking that whole instead of just the academic piece. They'll communicate regularly with our parents through our EDSB system, but also through email, phone calls, Zoom chats, and hopefully soon again in-person meetings. But they remain easily accessible for our families to connect with. Mrs. Pace, I'm going to turn it over to you to speak about our guidance and student support.
Thank you, Ms. Foley. In guidance, we work with students to become more aware of their abilities, their aptitudes, and their interests. Using my blueprint, we work together to plan their high school careers, selecting courses that meet graduation requirements, and allowing them to explore a variety of subjects that interest them and allow them to choose post-secondary pathways. Students are required to complete 18 compulsory credits and 12 electives. I work with students to ensure that all of the requirements are completed so that they can achieve the 30 credits and receive their Ontario Secondary School diploma. While in high school, students are required to complete 40 hours of community service. Together, we explore different places where they can complete these hours so that they are getting not just the hours, but a valuable and meaningful experience to each student. And part of my role as a guidance counselor is also working with students and their mental well-being. I do frequent check-ins with kids to ensure that they're doing well, not only academically, but also socially and emotionally.
Mrs. Pace. And next, I am going to turn it over to Ms. Palumbo, who's going to talk about our programming for our grade 9 and 10 students.
Okay, so our Launchpad program comprises 2 grades, like Ms. Foley just said. So for the grade 9 focus, it's largely learning strategies. And so students practice essential skills for success in both secondary school and then beyond. And then the grade 10 program is really focused on leadership and supporting peers. So they'll design plans, campaigns for the school, implement them, develop their communication skills, a lot of teamwork skills, conflict management, and things like that. And so the Launchpad program really acts as a sort of homeroom, except it takes place at the end of the day rather than first thing in the morning. And so the student's Launchpad teacher would be the one that they would go to with any questions or struggles that they're experiencing in their academic courses. They have the opportunity to work on those academic courses sometimes during their Launchpad classes, and just kind of bring any other concerns forward. And that teacher will act sort of as the main communication between the parents and anyone else that might have to get involved in supporting the student for what they need. And this program really stands on a few different pillars. The first one being fun. We really want it to be fun for our students because we believe that when they are having fun, they will succeed. They're more likely to succeed. It's a lot about self-discovery, and it's a really good opportunity for them to dive into their interests and their passions. We do a lot of passion projects and incorporating or giving them opportunities at least to incorporate their own interests into various assessments that take place in the course. Community and connections, which has been a really big challenge, obviously, in the last couple of years, given the pandemic, but we usually do a lot of community outreach, volunteering in different places in the community, and just things like that to get more involved in what's around our school and to get to know our neighbors. Exploration within the city. We're really lucky to be in a location where we're close to a lot of beautiful nature, like High Park and the Humber River. So we use that to our advantage in all the seasons, and we do a lot of exploration outdoors. Academic coaching already, like I mentioned. So that sometimes also involves getting other teachers involved in that period of the day if they are available for extra support, one-on-one work, and kind of like tutoring. Physical wellness is something that we also really emphasize in this course, and at least once a week, the class will involve some sort of physical activity, whether it's yoga or an outdoor walk, or in the warmer months, some sort of outdoor workout, things like that. We really believe that it ties into mental health as well and just supports the overall achievement of the student, as well as environmentalism. So our school, which I will speak a little bit more about later on, we're an eco school. And so we fit that into the foundations, or excuse me, the Launchpad program whenever we can. And finally, financial literacy. We know that especially for grade 9s, coming from all different schools, math may have been a very different experience for a lot of them in elementary school. And so in the Launchpad grade 9 program, there is a big emphasis on financial literacy and making sure that they have the tools to support them for success in their math course for their grade 9 year, as well as for their grade 10 year.
Thank you, Ms. Palumbo. And to speak about our university preparation for grades 11 and 12 is Mr. Colbert.
So university prep for the grade 11s and grade 12s, I think sort of comes through in a two-pronged approach. We want kids, certainly by the time that they get to grade 12, to have an understanding of the higher level and complexity of issues that they'll be engaging with and trying to decipher once they get to university, whether that's in an arts degree or the sciences. While doing that, while trying not to be overwhelmed by the complexity of those issues, the increase in the expectation, as well as in the reading levels and the tutorial groups that they will be in. So for the grade 11s and grade 12s, our senior teachers sort of spend a few weeks making sure that from our previous feedback that we've gotten from graduates and alumni, that students, by the time they graduate from grade 12, they are prepared for what they will see and experience in a university or college setting. So we place emphasis, of course, on note-taking, independent note-taking, university level reading, understanding then how to extrapolate from very difficult texts, article analysis, if they're in the sciences, doing lab work, how to write up a lab, and then of course how to come prepared to tutorial lessons in order to increase their understanding. So this idea then that by the time kids are done grade 11 and they're entering into grade 12, making these decisions for where they want to go, they've harnessed those skills to independently assess where they are and to pursue those academic goals that their interests have led them to. So as you can see on the slides here, this idea then that academics then in Blythe moving into the post-secondary sort of study world is a continual growth process, and our senior teachers throughout the sciences and arts, just trying to make sure that students don't end up in university shocked by the increase in the academic performance and expectations that they will certainly come in encountering once they get there. So university prep, grade 11 and grade 12, done in various different ways in alignment with the interests and the abilities of their teachers.
Thank you, Mr. Colbert. So because we work on the quadmester system, we run 3 academic periods a day. For our grade 9s and 10s, they'll do their 2 academic subjects in period 1 and 2. And because most of their courses are fairly prescribed based on the graduation requirements, we're able to generally pair one course that's a little bit more difficult with one that's a little bit easier, so that hopefully students would never be taking math and science at the same time or math and English at the same time. They have their lunch period, and then in the afternoon from 1:45 till 3:15, they have their Launchpad class, which Ms. Palumbo spoke about. And in grade 9, they're focusing on the learning strategies curriculum, so figuring out who they are as a learner and figuring out skills and strategies that work for them as a learner. And in grade 10, they're working on the leadership curriculum and trying to integrate into the senior grades and prepare them for school leadership opportunities. For grades 11 and 12, they too are only taking 2 academic subjects at a time, but it depends which courses they select and where they're running throughout the day, where they will fall. If they have, period 1 and 2, and then a period 3 spare or a spare during period 1 or 2, it really is dependent on the year and the course selection and availability. We do recommend that our grade 11 and 12 students spend their spare period in the school doing their homework so that they can leave and be generally pretty across all of their work and have teacher access for questions and concerns and that kind of thing. But ultimately it is up to the students whether they spend that time in the school or not. Ms. Palumbo, if you would like to speak to our extracurricular program.
Yes, so we have quite an offering of extracurriculars in the club in the school to cater to student interests that are wide ranging, including student council. So Mrs. Pace oversees our student council, and they run things like spirit weeks, special events for different holidays throughout the year. We have a Model United Nations, which is also one of our most popular ones that Mr. Colbert here is a part of. Sometimes there are trips involved to Ottawa, and that was, it's always been a favorite of the students. He's also our resident photographer and runs yearbook and photography clubs. We have astronomy, which is new to the mix this year, as well as chess. I run a yoga and meditation club, and there's some social justice and outreach going on, largely when we are able to go out and volunteer, but it has been happening online since the pandemic in place. Our math party is really a support club for extra math practice, math support for questions from class, things like that, just to allow students the opportunity to boost their confidence with their math skills. And so that's been a really popular one as well. One of them that's one of the main ones at our school is our Eco Club. We're an eco school, and that's part of a large charity that's nationwide called Eco Schools Canada. And so every year we've completed an application to gain a medal. So we have our bronze medal so far, working towards our silver. And in order to accomplish that, we have to complete different categories within our application. And so some of them this year include things like doing a Meatless Monday, diverting textile waste, which is something that we're planning for the spring. Everybody likes to do spring cleaning. And so we're actually, our Launchpad classes are organizing a campaign that involves diverting textile waste, heating and cooling, sorting waste. We've implemented composting and recycling in our school this year. So we have collection service for those things. So that's something new, and that's great that we're doing that now. Connecting with nearby nature, creating things like an eco code, and getting some people cooking. So a lot of these do happen in the Launchpad class, but there are students that are also in grades 11 and 12 that are involved with these initiatives, as well as the entire faculty. So everybody, it's a big team effort. But there is a club to kind of meet about it and organize and allocate tasks. And then we also participate in campus-wide tournaments, sports tournaments, and other things like the Terry Fox Run every fall. Some of them have been put on hold for the time being, but we are a very competitive campus, and we like to make our presence known in those events as well.
Thank you, Ms. Palumbo. So just a little bit about our school community. Some quick stats from the beginning of the year: 91% of our students live within 10 kilometers of the school, and 77 live within 5 kilometers of the school. So that means that our kids are not only forming relationships that will exist inside this building, but they're also making friends outside of the building as well, which makes a huge impact on how people relate to one another in the school, and just makes it feel like there's more of a buzz in our community because of that. You know, if your friends participating in a particular extracurricular, well, chances are you're going to tag along and participate in that as well. So it really does. I've worked in different schools, commuter schools, and it makes a remarkable difference to the energy in the building. As we've mentioned several times, the community around our school is incredible, lots of diverse and rich learning opportunities out there. And we are easily, I can see the subway station from my office here, so we can hop on the subway quickly and be across the school. And one of the new things that we implemented this year, just to get kids talking and interacting with those outside of their grades, is a house system, so that it also amps up our level of friendly competition in the school and participation in school-wide events. Within our community, it's known that our core values, they're right outside the office here, and were developed with our first year students. So that first very small cohort of students during our first year of operation, we worked to determine core values that we felt really represented who we are and who we wanted to be as a school community. And actually James's son was a part of that, a huge part of helping to develop this. So our core values are that everyone is known and accepted, diversity is celebrated, passion, creativity, and academic excellence are nurturally supported and are equally supported and nurtured, and student voices are heard and valued. And we do our best to live up to those every day. But we do have a student here, Avery, who is going to speak a little bit about that student experience and how student voice is in the mix here at Blythe Etobicoke. So Avery, if you just wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your perspective and your experience here at Blythe, that would be wonderful.
So I mean, my overall experience here has been pretty amazing, and I feel like it honestly is very hard to compare from other schools because it is very different. To like specifically focus on like relationships between students and teachers, it's always very positive and it's always very welcoming. And I mean, I know from personal experience, the teachers here have helped me grow and develop so much. I came into Blythe not the best student. I was also very timid and shy. But now I am actually student council co-president, and I love to do presentations, and public speaking has now become so much easier for me. And I know like all the teachers here have seen that growth. I also I know that there aren't sports teams here yet, but there are so many clubs, and I feel like that's also really important. Because of how small the school is, it is so easy to make friends and get involved. And if there isn't a club that you like, the staff is so open to trying anything, you know. They want you to participate, and they want to be providing opportunities for you, things that you'll enjoy and things that'll make the day more positive for you.
Thank you, Avery. Ms. Palumbo touched on this a little bit, but I'm going to ask Mr. Colbert just to talk a little bit more about some of our cross-campus events. I think he has participated in probably almost every one of them. So Mr. Colbert, over to you.
Yeah, so just to build on what Avery was saying and Amanda earlier, while our individual campuses can be smaller and sort of designed to help kids academically in a small classroom setting, this idea, though, that there are many Blythe Academy campuses throughout Southern Ontario really is a great opportunity to meet and engage with other students and coaches and teachers from other campuses. So we are in a particularly good position to have the Downsview campus available to us. So at that Downsview campus, we've had soccer tournaments where students from all across the Blythe community participate in a day-long soccer tournament. And it's just a great way to meet other students that are in the same school, but they're not in the same building. So networking with those teachers and those coaches across the Blythe community has been really great. We had a beach volleyball tournament a few years ago, of course, before COVID hit. We had that down in the Oakville area, really great as well to get the kids out participating in a day-long event. The triathlon was done at the Glendon campus of York University, a really great experience as well. I know when I was in high school, triathlon as an option wasn't available to me. So these are sort of cross-campus events that are designed to pull students together that perhaps have never had an opportunity to participate in these kinds of events. And while these are mostly sport team events, prom as well, Terry Fox Run, end of the year golf tournament, or all other events that the Blythe community comes together and just participates in. And it's a really nice sort of different variable as to how Blythe runs its programs. So I've found it really, really exciting, really beneficial, and I think the students have as well.
Thank you, Mr. Colbert. And Mrs. Pace, if you would just take a moment to talk about our post-secondary pathways, please.
I would love that. As Mr. Colbert said earlier, we work very closely with our students starting in grade 11 to explore different pathways, be it university or college. I have an information session with parents in September to talk about the UAC and OCAS application process. I do the applications with students, and then I am so proud of each student when they come in to share with me all of their different acceptance offers and scholarship offers. I could go on forever about where our students have been accepted to. 95% of our kids get into their top choice. Last year, our graduating class earned over $216,000 in scholarships. Some of our students last year were accepted into incredibly competitive programs. At McMaster, for example, there's a program that accepts 63 students, and 2 of those students were our graduates from last year, as well as the University 1 programs, which accept 25 students. We had 2 students from Blythe Academy Etobicoke accepted into those as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Pace. And I'm going to turn it over to James Thompson now, whose son graduated from Blythe Academy Etobicoke last year, just to speak about why they chose Blythe for their son, what their experience was like, and all the way through to the graduating year. So over to you, James.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Good. I had to put the headset on. Racket outside. Why did we choose Blythe? We had concerns about Aiden. He did grade 9 at the public system, but he was a disengaged student, really disengaged and not happy. He enjoyed it socially and he retains friends from grade 9, but he found classes demotivating. He insisted his teachers didn't want to be there. What did we like about Blythe? We really liked small class sizes. It's hard to tune out when you're in a small group. Semesters. Aiden found 2 courses at a time really appealing. That's what sold him. He was finding it tough juggling 8. We admired, at the time anyhow, we admired a culture that encouraged students to manage each other and to work as a community. Lori committed to individualized attention and willingness to work with students' challenges. That's easy to say, but Lori and her staff kept that promise. Blythe's teachers seemed genuinely thrilled to teach. Teaching's all about teachers. If they're unhappy, that comes across. Students become unhappy too. If they're thrilled about what they do and they want to infect students with love of learning, youth respond to that. We did look at some other schools. None seemed so committed to individualized support. I've got friends who teach in a variety of private schools across the city. Feedback on morale and working conditions was unsettling. Communication. Communications with teachers were frequent. Every teacher emailed us as parents, encouraged us to call with concerns. Lori did the same as principal and always responded promptly. More than that, both Lori and her teachers asked us how they could improve. That's rare. I'll mention discipline and culture. We didn't run into that much, but I think Lori runs a tight ship with a light touch. Students talk about her being selective. They know that she's rejected some applicants removed from other schools. They see her as something of a mom and know that she keeps the place safe. So thank you, Lori. What did I like most about Blythe? Teachers. Aiden's teachers impressed us with their enthusiasm and commitment to students. They wanted to be there. That showed. It was apparent to Aiden. That mattered. I keep referring to teachers. His teachers had generally 2 degrees. I'm not sure that's necessary. I'm impressed that Blythe can find high caliber teachers, but sometimes that can backfire. The math whiz who found math easy can find it difficult to understand a student who doesn't. They can have difficulty addressing issues they've never experienced. We never encountered that here. An example of flexibility. When COVID hit, Blythe pivoted quickly to a distance ed program with really good support for students not used to remote ed. That was pretty impressive. How did it prepare Aiden for post-secondary studies? Blythe certainly challenged him intellectually. That got him onto U of T's main campus. More than that, out of 800 applicants already accepted to U of T, Aiden was one of only 22 students selected for an undergraduate program, first year ever, run by the Monk School of Public Affairs and global affairs and public policy. It's a graduate school. It's the first time they've ever run an undergrad program. So I think Blythe prepared him pretty well to get in. Blythe strengthened his social skills and encouraged him to contribute. His teachers encouraged students to work on extracurriculars and projects that mattered to them. He was challenged to participate in student government, even local political campaigns. He and his friends found food for a local food bank and they put together the yearbook. His teachers introduced him to Model UN. That's been a big deal for him. He was pushed to work with other students and support them. Blythe provided all students with support in making university choices. For Aiden and his peers, that seems to have reduced anxiety, it produced better choices, and it helped them to gain admission to appropriate schools and programs. Blythe gave Aiden confidence in his ability to contribute. University is not just classes and grades. You need to get immersed in the place and take full advantage of it. And he had the confidence to jump right in. At Blythe, he won awards for his work on Model UN. He discovered he had potential. At U of T, he's the first year rep for the International Relations Society, and he dove right into the Model UN program at U of T, where senior students have already offered to mentor him. His biggest challenge was going to be learning to say no and manage time so his grades don't suffer. About that, he just got results from an economics exam. He did fabulously well. He's pumped. Really excited this week about how well Blythe prepared him in maths. Next week, he's going to be sweating again. Blythe taught him to take responsibility for his own education. I fuss about this a lot. Elon Musk asked, who put the software in your head? Who wrote the software in your head? I don't think good teachers write the software in your head. I think they make you take responsibility for it, make you learn to write your own software and practice that skill so it becomes real. Aiden's teachers did that. The low student-teacher ratio at Blythe might suggest to prospective parents that students would be spoon-fed and learn to expect that. We never experienced that. We found his teachers pushed him pretty hard to be resourceful and learn to learn. So overall, academically, Blythe did a really good job. It wasn't cheap. We made sacrifices, but it was the best investment we've ever made. It gave Aiden the tools he needed to identify his weaknesses, to upgrade and acquire new skills. It gave him enthusiasm to learn. It taught him the joy of learning. His teachers infected him with a desire to learn and contribute, and they modeled success. That's everything we can ask for, everything we did ask for.
Thank you very much, James. Thank you. Thank you for your thoughtful commentary and reflection on Aiden's time and your experience at our school. We appreciate it, as I'm sure the prospective parents do as well. It's always very valuable for them to hear from a parent who's been through it, and Avery, a student who's been through it as well. So thank you both very much. Before we close, just a little bit on our admissions process. So it's really a 4-step process here. First of all, you speak to our team. Generally, that's myself or Ms. Palumbo, who supports me with admissions here at the school. Step 2 is an academic review. So if you feel you would like to move forward, we ask for copies of your recent academic documents so we can take a look at them to make sure that we believe that we can support your child in their learning and education. Step 3 would be to actually apply and book the interview. The interviews are done again with me personally. I like to meet every family myself, students and parents, before they join the school. And then after I review the application and all the accompanying information with our admissions team, then we would provide an admissions decision and move forward with registration and enrollment. When I'm doing sort of the admissions process, families often ask, what does it mean to be a fit at Blythe? What does fit mean? All of the schools use fit. So what am I looking for when I'm doing those admissions meetings, when I'm having those conversations with our families? I want to see that there's a general commitment to learning. You don't have to love it right away. Hopefully we'll get you there, but you have to be open to it. You have to be open to learning and to letting us try and get you engaged in it. You need to be committed to community. It's really important to us that it's not just an academic life that you have here, that you experience everything that we have to offer. So we want you to get involved. Character. I mean, I will ask a lot of questions in the interview, situational questions, just to determine what kind of character you have. Do you take responsibility for your actions? Do you have a growth mindset? Do you demonstrate kindness and patience in difficult actions? That's what we're looking for. And the core values that I shared out earlier, are your general views and your responses in alignment with those core values? Are you going to be kind to the other human beings in our building? And are you going to be in it with us? That's what I mean by fit. And how will you be successful in our school? Well, I think it's a pretty easy recipe we've got here, at least simple to understand for sure. You need to approach school with some optimism, curiosity, and openness. Again, that's our work to get you there, as Avery talked about. You need to be present. We cannot help you if you don't come to school. We cannot help you if you don't at least get your feet in the door. Everything is not going to be successful every single time, but you need to be willing to persevere, right? You need to work alongside us so that we can help you get there. Again, the kindness word, be kind. And we need our parents to be our partners. We can't do this alone, just as you can't do it alone. So we need our parents to work alongside us to help our students get wherever it is that they need and want to go. Students thrive here when they approach school with this sort of mindset. They will be successful here. So that is our presentation for today. If you have questions, you are welcome to contact the school directly. You can contact us by email at etobicoke@blytheeducation.com or by phone as well, or you can contact our admissions department directly just through the website of our school. And we would be happy to have an initial consultation appointment with you and just get to know a little bit about your child and how it is that we might be able to help. So thank you very much for joining us here today. It's been our pleasure to host you, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much.